Rudy Giuliani's business associate, Lev Parnas, is talking to reporters. Not only is he complying with impeachment investigators, but he's also talking to reporters about what he knows, how he worked with Rudy Giuliani and the Trump administration, and just how many people within the Trump administration knew about Trump's dirty dealings when it came to Ukraine and the congressionally appropriated military funding that was supposed to go to Ukraine. Now, as we know, he withheld that money and demanded that Ukraine announce an investigation into Donald Trump. So what exactly did Parnas have to say in these interviews? He talked to both Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper. We're gonna show you clips from both. And in this next clip, I would argue you hear something that is the most damning when it comes to Donald Trump.
What do you think is the main inaccuracy or the main lie that's being told that you feel like you can correct?
That the president didn't know what was going on. President Trump knew exactly what was going on. He was aware of all of my movements. I wouldn't do anything without the consent of Rudy Giuliani or the president. I have no intent, I have no reason to speak to any of these officials. I mean, they have no reason to speak to me. Why would President Zelensky's inner circle or the Minister Avakov or all these people or President Poroshenko meet with me? Who am I? They were told to meet with me. And that's the secret that they're trying to keep. I was on the ground doing their work.
We all knew, or at least suspected, that Donald Trump was in on all of this, because who is the person who stands to gain the most from this announcement of the investigation into the Bidens? Donald Trump, whose political rival is Joe Biden. In fact, Donald Trump himself, in front of a helicopter, urged China to investigate Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, who at that time, before this whole debacle with Bernie, was really spiking in the polls, right? Yeah. And so he didn't really hide the fact that he was in favor of these types of announcements that would hurt his political rivals. And I think that Parnas makes a really good argument there. Like, who is Lev Parnas and why was he, out of all these people, encouraged to work with Trump administration officials and Zelensky?
Yeah, if you want, like, the first interview of a figure of Lev Parnas to not win as many people over, then don't like seed the ground with a transcript that shows you wanting investigations, you on live television asking for investigations, all of your cronies in the media continually pushing even to this day for investigations. The Republicans in the Senate were gonna protect you are still trying to bring in Joe and Hunter Biden in lieu of investigations. They all want it so bad that when Lev Parnas comes out and says, yeah, I wasn't over there randomly, they wanted me to get these investigations, it is very easy to believe. Even if Lev Parnas and his whole thing gives us reasons to not necessarily 100% believe him.
Right, I mean, look, I think Lev Parnas, who's of course facing some federal charges for campaign fundraising that he's not supposed to be doing, illegal campaign contributions to the Trump campaign.
Another thing he has in common with Trump.
So there's criminality there on his part. But I think part of the reason why he's being honest, he's releasing documents. Remember that, we talked about that on the show yesterday, to help bolster what he's saying. And he wants a little bit of, he wants the feds to take it easy on him, which is part of the reason why he's complying with this investigation. But in this next clip, he talks about motivation. So what was it that Trump cared about the most?
When you say that the president knew about your movements and knew what you were doing, are you saying specifically, and I want to sort of drill down on that, that the president was aware that you and Mr. Giuliani were working on this effort in Ukraine to basically try to hurt Joe Biden's political career? He knew about that. Yeah,
well, it was all about Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and also Rudy had a personal thing with the Manafort stuff, the Black Ledger. That was another thing that they were looking into, but it was never about corruption. It was strictly about the Burisma, which included Hunter Biden and Joe Biden.
So it's clear.
Yeah.
I mean, he's essentially really reinforcing what we had already suspected. And one of the other things that we suspected was that Donald Trump and the Trump campaign, the Trump team, the Trump administration, everyone associated with him, were trying to push this conspiracy theory about how, no, Trump was not colluding with Russia. to get an upper hand in the 2016 election. In fact, it was Ukraine that was helping Hillary Clinton win the election. That was one of the conspiracy theories that we kept hearing about over and over again. And according to some of the Parnas revelations, he worked with Trump in order to get or to spread misinformation about that conspiracy theory. So Parnas played a central role in arranging an interview with the Ukrainian prosecutor who claimed there was a plot in his country to help Hillary Clinton, and then urging a senior contact at America First Action to get Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., to tweet it, which he did. Yeah. Links to stories about Ukraine that Parnas sent to America First Action Finance Director Joseph Ahern were tweeted by both the president and Trump Jr., the material shows. And again, that's just another piece of evidence showing that Trump was very much aware of what was going on. This was very much an orchestrated effort to spread this conspiracy theory about Hillary Clinton.
And that includes some other figures too, because some of the documents that were revealed earlier this week from Lev Parnas involved text messages that in a very similar form ended up being an op-ed by John Solomon, one of the figures who helped to initially spread the Ukraine conspiracy theory, and he also coordinated with Sean Hannity. So it really does involve like all of those people who've been floating around Donald Trump over the past couple of years.
Exactly. So let's go to the next clip where Parnas talks about his personal relationship with Donald Trump.
He said about you and Mr. Fruman, Igor Fruman, I don't know those gentlemen, I don't know about them, I don't know what they do. You're saying that was not a true statement from the president?
He lied.
The president has said, when you were arrested, the president of the United States said he didn't know you.
I don't know those gentlemen.
I welcome him to say that even more. Every time he says that, I'll show him another picture.
He's lying.
He's lying.
Yeah.
Again, something we suspected.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, the whole thing is frustrating. Like, I feel like I say this every day. So we have to work overtime to prove what is obviously true, even though it'll then just be disregarded anyway. So the idea that Donald Trump knew this guy, I mean, he can show as many pictures as he wants, we can show all these pictures. We know for a fact that Rudy Giuliani was working with the guy. They're cavorting around on Instagram Live and all that stuff. They were over there working together. Rudy Giuliani, for a couple of years now, has been the unpaid henchman of Donald Trump. Why did Rudy Giuliani choose Lev Parnas to go? And they're continually taking trips and continually communicating all of this stuff. The idea that, like, what does it take, 100 photos, 200 photos to prove that Donald Trump has a connection to this guy? Donald Trump still hasn't disavowed Rudy Giuliani, and Rudy Giuliani was best buds with this guy. They were clearly working together on this.
It's just so, at this point, with all the different people within the Trump administration who have testified against him in both closed and open House hearings, the documents that were released by Parnas, the interviews that are so specific in detail with Parnas, all of this evidence. Look, you couldn't pay to get Oppo research this good.
Yeah.
This is such a layup for Democrats. Do I think that Trump's gonna be removed? Okay, do you think that the Senate trial is gonna go the way that it should go, where lawmakers do the right thing and they remove him? No, I already know how the Senate is gonna handle this situation. But again, this is a layup for Democrats. It's here, there's so much damning evidence, there's so much material for your campaign ads.
Yeah.
I hope they wake up and they realize that they should be using this stuff now in their campaign ads. Now, right now.
Just read those text messages and then say, why are the Senate Republicans trying to protect these guys? These these guys who fantasize about killing US officers. And so you said you couldn't buy Oppo research this good. You also, unfortunately, can't buy media cover for a politician as good as Donald Trump gets.
That's true.
So I heard, like, Sean Hannity is already a part of this story, but Sean Hannity is also, because he's a media figure, every day he's opining on the story. And what he had to say today is that the Lev Parnas stuff shows how desperate Democrats are. They're pinning their hopes on this guy who's like gonna go down for multiple crimes, is involved with organized crime, all this stuff. And think about how maddening that is, that the Democrats look bad because Rudy Giuliani has been working with and cavorting around with this fairly obvious kooky criminal. That so as long as Donald Trump, as long as his henchmen are laughable, then the Democrats will look bad if they ask why he's surrounding himself with criminals constantly year after year. And Rudy Giuliani, or sorry, Sean Hannity in this case, like he brings on Rudy Giuliani. Ask him if you want to know why people are working with Lev Parnas.
But he doesn't want to know that.
He doesn't want to know.
I mean, and let's not forget, and we're going to talk about this in more detail later in the show, but Devin Nunes, who is a ranking congressman who took part, of course, in the impeachment investigation, is very much implicated in all of this.
Yeah.
It's insane. And so there's a lot of criminality going around, and the very people on the Republican side who are supposed to be holding Donald Trump accountable happen to be implicated in the very situation that Trump is being investigated in. It's insane. So are we going to allow this type of rot to take place in our country? Is this what we're okay with? And that's what Democrats should be asking in their campaign ads.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
And really fast, we keep talking about precedent, and that is why one of the reasons we wanted impeachment to be pursued is we were worried about precedent being set. Think about the precedent that is being set. Like so many politicians are being trained day by day through the story that, man, even if you make your crimes really obvious, you'll probably be okay. Like if you're the least bit savvy, the least bit clever in the way you go about this, you don't make your communications as easily trackable, you don't surround yourself with obvious rogues and thieves and people with no honor whatsoever that are gonna turn on you the second they can, that as long as you don't do that, you are gonna be 100% fine. Any corruption you want, any crimes you wanna commit, you'll probably be just fine.
Before we end this story, I do want to go to one member comment, and it's from Farmer Phil. Please, please, please talk about the lawyer's creepy looks. I was not going to do that. The lawyer sitting next to
I didn't even notice.
Lev Parnas. I don't know if we can go to B-roll featuring Lev Parnas sitting next to his lawyer, but I see you. I totally noticed the same thing. In fact, I would be a little like freaked out if I were Rachel Maddow, because he's like giving her the look of, I'm sure he doesn't intend to, but he's like giving her the look of death.
He has not blinked yet.
Look at him.
No blink.
Look at the lawyer. The lawyer like freaks me out. But anyway.
No, that's what I was talking about. The lawyer didn't blink once in that video.